Hey, Egg Teacher Thoughts here, coming at you with a mid-Christmas break update. So I'm up in the greenhouse today, our research greenhouse at our high school, and I came up because our plants needed water. So just because it's on break doesn't mean that a ag teacher or a nurseryman gets a break. Just like animals, plants need to be fed too. So I'm up here working on our Firefly Petunias. Now these are our apparent cold hardy petunias. They're over here and they're doing quite well. I think we're going to be taking some cuttings with our horticulture class that's going to be starting this next semester. So those are an unpatented seed geranium or a seed petunia. So we're going to go ahead and take cuttings off of those and use them as propagation training for our greenhouse class. Now with the Firefly Petunias, there were some discussions about fireflies in one of my group about the size that fireflies can get. And I wanted to dispel a couple of rumors and concerns that people had. Now, these are in 1-gallon nursery containers. So that's Daryl right there. Daryl's in a 1-gallon pot. That doesn't mean that it's one like Freedom gallon. This is like gallon, what nurserymen consider a gallon container. So let's go and look at these. And these are all clones. All these are clones off of the original right in through here. Over here is our F1 generation. So these are our first crosses. And I did notice something as I was going through. I found a seed pod right there. Right there. So I got to harvest that seed today. And I can see some of them have fallen out already. Where are they? Yeah, some of them have fallen out, so we need to get those. So those are our F1 generations. These are also F1 generations. And this is what our original has resorted to. So it did have some dead loss here, so some of the branches did die back. But it is coming back and regrowing off of some of the buds. So what I wanted to show is there is my hand for scale on the pot. This is the pot that it was in most of the summer when I transplanted it up. So it is a fairly good size container. View that for scale. So that's in inches. It's 12 inches in diameter for the top of that pot. That's the largest I would ever put a Firefly Petunia in. So it's about almost a 12 by 12. I wouldn't put it in anything larger than that. The root system just doesn't hold it. So the question had come about who had grown the largest Firefly Petunia. And I had mentioned that mine, the original, was over 18 inches across. And some people didn't believe that that could possibly be true, that with fertilizer and warm weather, you could get a petunia larger than the apparent size that a lot of these like to grow. So I wanted to use some of these as an example. So these are the ones that are in our students' fertilizer test trial. We're going to line that up to the edge of the branches. And right there, we are coming to 20 inches. And that's without the branches being supported out. So if you put those branches supported out on both sides, you're going to be well in excess of 2 feet. With these, there is something else unique that's going on, and it's something that's a little bit of a technique of nurserymen to get larger plants. One is they are receiving Jack's Classic Petunia feed, and I think it's 2319 is the mix that I'm currently working. That's the one that was available to me commercially in grower size bags. I think they're 20 or 25 pound bags. I can show you that label. If you look back in any of my videos about fertilizer, that's the one that I feature there. So all of these are getting the Jack's Classic as a petunia feed or for their fertilizer. And each of these are going through a fertilizer test trial. So the 4 plants that are in this area, of which that is one of them, is receiving 1 tablespoon per gallon of fertilizer at every watering. This group is getting 1 teaspoon per gallon, and this group is getting 1/2 teaspoon per gallon. Okay, so they're undergoing a fertilizer test trial. So these 2 plants here, which are pretty good size, let's get the ruler over this one here. Did you see that? And right back there, just about 18 inches. And again, that's not what the branch is supporting out. They are doing quite well. And this one is actually getting 1 teaspoon per gallon. This one's 1 teaspoon per gallon. That one's getting 1 tablespoon per gallon. So I'm going to go ahead and put these back. But you know, you can see that those are a pretty good sized plant. Now, this one here is a good example of what's going on. So all of these pots had been packed fairly tight together, and they had grown out. And my ladies that were doing the research, I told them, hey, you got to space them out a little bit further. So they went ahead and did that. So when they spaced them out, these branches, which had been upright, then laid down. And when they laid down, there was a hormonal change in the plant, because what was our apical meristem, so our tallest part of the plant, which is controlling the growth, then ended up being lower than everything else. And when that happens, it triggers a hormonal response in the plant that says, hey, we need a new top, we need a new tallest branch, go ahead and start producing one. So it activated all the buds that were down below on these lower branches and caused them to grow. So we get a second flush of growth that's happening here. And that's, a good solid 6 inches high. And these are going to grow up and they're going to get long, and then they're going to fall over. And that's going to happen over and over and over as this plant continues to thrive. But we're getting some significant growth off the sides here. And even Alfredo here, yes, our ladies did name everyone, is getting a 1/2 teaspoon per gallon, which is probably sufficient. But I do find the best color is coming out of the 1 tablespoon per gallon. Let's look at Alfredo. And let's see where we can measure him from. Okay, so that's what I thought. He's pretty lopsided there. So he's coming from that edge of the pot over here, and he goes out about 13 inches. So with these, they don't necessarily have to be a small plant. Now the other thing is, you can see we are in a greenhouse. They do have supplemental light. They are getting fertilizer. And then the temperature in here, I'm maintaining 56 for a low during the evenings, and then I allow just ambient temperature or our solar gain for the day to add any extra heat. These also have not been pruned for shape. That was something I was going to actually work on this summer, or this Christmas break, was to prune them for shape. But these are not that old. They're only a few months old. So I took these cuttings right at the end of summer, and now we're in December. So they're doing pretty good. So let's go ahead and put this guy back. And you know, the other thing is, I showed you this one had a pretty wide spread there. The original, let's come back down here to the original. The original actually hung off on all sides of this container, and was actually trailing off the edge of this. I do think that these would get longer if they were in a little bit warmer conditions, although I do think that these might like it just a little bit cooler than what my place is in the summertime. This by far is my favorite. That's Ivan. So we'll put Ivan back there in his spot. So they're doing really well. They're nice and compact. As far as the foliage, you know, there is a little stretching on the internodal length here, and then this one happens to be in the path of some of the lights, so he is a little bit tighter. But yeah, they're doing quite well, and under the right conditions, yes, they can get 18 by 18 or more. It just really depends on your fertilizer, your location, and your lighting. So the locations kind of dictate the heat there. But anyway, that's a mid-break update. The other thing I should talk about is I have done some pest control in here, because our new plants are going to actually start arriving here in the greenhouse. So for our high school plant sale, they will start arriving here about 2 weeks, week and a half after Christmas break ends. So all of these guys here are going to have to move and make way for the new plants. These will definitely get a massive haircut. We're going to turn those all into cuttings, so the students will get that practice. But yeah, this whole little research greenhouse is going to become absolutely chock-a-block full of cuttings and plants, and then towards the end of February, everything should move out to our large grow house, the one that you can see that I did the full build for. But anyway, if you have some questions for me about Firefly petunias or their growth habits or fertilizer, go ahead and send those to me. I'll answer them the best I can, but I did just want to give an update on that and kind of dispel some of the questions and rumors. Yeah, Firefly petunias can get fairly large. Why they don't get large in regular homeowner setups, it's probably a light issue, or it might be too little fertilizer. There's a lot of things that could be in that. But here, at least in our research greenhouse, they're getting fairly large. So anyway, hope you learned something. Ag Teacher Thoughts out.